Hey guys, it's me again. I'm coming on today because I had a little bit of an epiphany from something very simplistic, and I thought it was very helpful for me. There's something that I've always been challenged with in my life, and I feel like this analogy that I just was inspired with was hopefully going to be inspiring for you guys. And I'm going to be dabbling into this thought process for some time. Like you guys know, I love to think about and pick apart things and dissect and do shadow work. So this was one of those times and moments, and I wanted to share it with you. So for those of you, I was out today in the morning and I was like, you know what? It's been a while since I've had some fresh flowers in the house, and I went to go get some flowers. And I saw these like really cool, I don't know if you guys can see with the camera, but they're kind of like, they feel like felt, and they're just like so inspiring. I was like, wow, this is like fabric meets felt meets something, and it comes from these little rivets, and you would never expect these things to like explode and like blow up kind of like as they do, right? From something so small, you know what I mean? And I was like really captivated by these flowers. I was like, wow, like this is just some like Gaia genius that I'm staring at, you know, Mother God's genius. And I started thinking about how like on a daily basis, like I'm somebody who loves flowers, and I go out of my way. I mean, sometimes when I'm out on the streets, I notice these like beautiful flowers, and I'm just like, I was thinking to myself, I'm like, how many of us like pass beautiful flowers every day and don't even take notice to them, or don't even realize how awesome they are, or don't realize how beautiful they shine, or how great they smell, or, you know, just recognition in general. And it got me thinking. I was like, for those of us that, you know, we're on this path, the 144, or the, you know, the chosen, or you feel like you're a starseed, or you're an empath, or I believe, just like me, you have a very similar blueprint where maybe in your lifetime you've had a lot of challenges when it comes to people. And I can honestly say, like, in my own lifetime, like, I, much like the flower, I've been ignored, I've been trampled on, I've had people just up and ditch me, I've had people break my heart to smithereens, I've been abandoned, I've been, like, pretty much, and from any walk of life, from family members, from friends, from past loved ones, I've been ignored by gurus. I've been ignored by people that claim that they're seers, that they're this, that they're that. And none of them ever saw me for who I really am, and never ever saw me for this brilliant flower that I am. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because much like that, and I would say even maybe more people out there, but I want to be more like this flower. And you want to know why? Because I think in my life, I've been really hurt by people. I can honestly say, like, I've taken some of these things to heart, and I've really brought it forward in my life, and I've let it be blockades and little strongholds of fear around my heart, because I was like, well, if these people can do it to me, you know, who's to stop, like, the good people? And if the good people can do it to me, who's to stop anyone? And it makes you close your heart up. It makes you put barricades around your heart. But I want to be more like the flower. And I'll tell you why. Because the flower is just awesome regardless of who, you know, the millions of people that pass it by, the millions of people that don't take notice to the flower and the brilliance of it and the beauty of it and the perfume of it. Millions, if not billions of people could pass you by, just like millions or billions pass by these flowers every day. And the thing is that doesn't stop the flower from being as awesome as it is. You know what I mean? The flower doesn't like go back in its shell and say, hey, I'm not going to flower today. You know, I'm not going to be flowering. So I want to be more like the flower, because honestly, I don't need to be noticed. I'm just going to put forth my beauty regardless of who sees me. And I think that that's the motto and the mantra that I want to try to adopt for these next, you know, seasons that are to come. Because realistically, like, if we're always cultivating ourselves in a way where we're like, oh, am I being viewed? Am I being recognized? Am I being seen? You're actually taking away from the core essence of who you are. You are the flower. You're automatically going to be that regardless of who sees you. And I think a good person to kind of look at is, like, let's say our homeboy Jesus, right? Jesus was well known, well remarked around, or in most villages. And for some reason, he kept coming up against these naysayers and these rude people. People that claimed to be, like prophets, and people that claimed to be, higher learned men in the Jewish culture. And they still couldn't see Jesus for who he was. So badly so that his own friends couldn't see him for who he was. Perhaps maybe the only person who saw him for who he was his mother and Mary Magdalene. But he was lucky to even have that in his life. But he was even put on that cross because of how many times people did not stand up for him or stick by his side, even though they knew in their heart of hearts Jesus was a flower. In the essence of fear, when others were turned to that person to say, hey, is Jesus a flower? Is Jesus a flower or is he a plant? Most of those people just turned around and said, oh, he's a plant. And you know why? Because they were too scared. They didn't realize how much their fear was actually squelching and ruining the beauty of what that flower could have become. And I bring that up because it's like in this life, when we are being challenged with whatever we're being challenged, to keep that mantra of I'm going to be beautiful and put forth and smell great and do all these things regardless of who's seeing me. It's kind of like that proverbial idea of if a tree falls in a forest, does anyone hear it? The answer is yes. And the reason why is because the tree was there before you even had ears to hear it. And the tree, in its essence, is going to put forth that beauty of what it is to be a tree, regardless if you see it or not. So I think, for those of us that have been challenged and feel maybe no one gets me, maybe no one understands me. And you know what? That's been my life. I could write a book about that 101. When I mean, so many people have not acknowledged who I am, I literally could do a list that would probably make your eyes water. And I'm not going to take away because, when I think about Jesus and his story, I'm like, if anybody could write a book, it's him. He's had everyone turn on him or turn away from him. But that didn't stop Jesus from doing what he had to do. And I hope this message reaches someone that needs to hear it today, because much like the flower, you need to push forward and just exude and just do you. Because realistically, for those that think they do see, or for those that think they are right, or for those that think they can cast judgment upon you, they're really the ones that are stagnant and lost themselves. Because realistically, we never stop growing, we never stop striving, we never stop opening our eyes to the possibilities. And if you're somebody that thinks you have a handle on it, and you think you know better, or you think you know everything, you're actually the one that's blind. So I just want to let you know, it's okay if no one gets you. It's okay if the whole world doesn't see you for the beautiful flower you are. It's not your fault. Okay? It's not your fault. It's not the flower's fault if no one stops to smell it, right? The flower's still going to be the flower. And if no one stops for you and no one notices you, it's not your fault. It's theirs. Because realistically, you're still going to be you. And that's all I want to share. I hope this message reaches someone. It really inspired me, and I hope it inspires you all. Go out there, be the flowers that you are, regardless of what the world tells you. Because realistically, that's how your brilliance shines. So I love you. Please like, please subscribe, please share if you do like what I'm saying. And I hope you have the best day ever. Peace.